The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing except old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Once-ler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Once-ler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on the top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he'll let down a tin pail, and you'll have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he'll hide what you paid him away in his snoove, his secret strange hole in his grievous glove. Then he'll pull up the pail, make the most careful count to see if you paid him the proper amount. Then he grunts, I will call you by a whisper, my phone, for the secrets I'll tell for your ears alone. Down slumps the whisper-my-phone to your ear, and old Once-ler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had a smallish bee up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the day when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean and the song of the swishy swans rang out in the space, one morning I came to this glorious place and I first saw the trees, the truffle trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffle trees, miles after miles of fresh morning breeze. And under the trees, I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits, and they played in the shade and ate truffle of fruits. From the rippleless pond came a comforting sound of humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffle trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was softer than silk, and they had a sweet smell like fresh butterfly milk. And I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart, and I knew what I'd do. I'd unload my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop, and I chopped down a truffle tree with one chop, and with great skillful skill and great speedy speed, I took a soft toff and knitted a thread. The instant I finished, I heard it go zump. I looked and saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was short of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdust sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees, for they have no tongue, and I am asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, what is that thing you made out of truffle tuff? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree and I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a threed. A threed is find something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpet, for a pillow, for sheets, or curtains, or even bicycle seats. The Lorax said, "Sir, you're crazy with greed. There's no one on earth that would buy that full threed." But that very next minute, I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought the threed I knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy, you never can tell what some people will buy." "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone and put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts and I said, "Listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Once-ler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road of North Nitch. Turn left at the Weehawken, sharp right at South Snitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Once-ler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting threads, just as busy as bees, to the sound of chopping of truffle trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how the business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented a super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffle trees in one smacker. We were making beads 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week, he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown Barbaloots, who played in the shade of the Barbara Loot suits and happily lived eating truffle fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffle fruit to go round, and my poor Barbara Loots are all getting crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Once-ler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagon, I biggered my loads. Of the threads I shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more threads and biggering my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes, and that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax." He coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled. He snargled and he sniffed. "Once-ler," he cried in a croffle and croak. "Once-ler, you're making such a smogglous smoke. My poor swoomy swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing when they have smog in his throat." "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They can't live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape the smog you've smogged up around here." "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his danger was up, "let me say a few words about the glubbity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making glubbity-glup, all scoppily sklop. And what do you do with the leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Once-ler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yip yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you I intend on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggerin' and biggerin' and biggerin' and biggerin', turning more truffle trees into threes, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside the field came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffle tree of them all. No more trees, no more threes, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and my aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped in my cars. They drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. And all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backwards glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hasted himself and took leave of this place through the hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks and one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was a long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away through the years while my building has fallen apart. I've worried about it with all my heart. But now, said the Once-ler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. So, catch, called the Once-ler, and he let something fall. It's a truffle seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last truffle seeds. And truffle trees is what everyone needs. Plant a new truffle. Treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all his friends may come back.